Imagine living as an African American student in the early 1900s. Post-Civil War is very racist. Now imagine also living in this time as an African American student trying to pursue higher education. You can always go to a HBCU, but in order to really get an education, you want to go to a historically white institution, maybe Ivy League school, Cornell, Yale, to name a few. Or if you go to these schools, there are not a lot of people that look like you. You're a minority. You might feel uncomfortable, you might feel less of a man, but things you have to face when you want to pursue higher education. This paved the way for African American students to try to form African American fraternities and sororities to family and brotherhood. However, in a study done by the Journal of Black Psychology, a study by Landron and Concroft, a study showed that 98.1% of black students have felt some sort of racial oppression in their lives. 100% have experienced some form of racism in their entire life. Also, in a book titled "Assume the Position, You Fit the Description: A Study on Racial Battle Fatigue," there's a quote that says, "African American males were defined as being out of place and fitting the description of illegitimate members of the college community." Like I said, these students felt out of place and they weren't welcome. However, the first college fraternity was actually Phi Beta Kappa Fraternity Incorporated, which was founded on the College of William and Mary on December 5th, 1775. However, the fraternity for white students only. Later on, other white fraternities were founded, more specifically Sigma Alpha Epsilon. However, these fraternities were very racist. As we can see in this video here, students were screaming a very racist chant while black people trying to join the organization. As we can see here, students were chanting, "There will never be a nigger in SAE." This was the type of racial climate that black students face now, as well as back then. There's also a book titled "Black Faculty Coping with Racial Battle Fatigue: The Campus Racial Climate in a Post-Civil Rights Era." The book detailed the mental as well as physical health complications that black students face when going through racial trauma such as this. Some of the symptoms include tension, headaches, backaches, elevated heartbeat, rapid breathing, fatigue, as well as elevated blood pressure and loss of appetite. As we can see here, there are serious mental and physical implications for black students being treated this way. For black organizations such as the Divine Nine to come in to try to soothe some of these problems for black people. Also in an article entitled "Assume the Position, You Fit the Description," the quote says, "Historically black fraternities offer a sense of brotherhood, academic and social support, networking, and leadership opportunities through fraternal ties with alumni members." This brings us to the Divine Nine. Divine Nine, also known as the NPHC, or the National Pan-Atlantic Council, was an org founded strictly for black people, well, for black people, but not exclusively for black people, to sort of soothe these racial differences. The first organization in the Divine Nine is Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, which was founded on December 4th, 1906 at Cornell University. What a lot of people don't know is that many of the founders of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated actually worked for SAE as waiters and tutors for white students in order to make money and support themselves. The second org we have is Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, which was founded on January 15th, 1908 at Howard University. This is the first ever black intercollegiate sorority. Then you have Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, which was founded on January 5th, 1911 at Indiana University. Next, we have Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, which was founded on November 17th, 1911 at Howard University. Next, we have the second African American sorority, which is the Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, founded on January 13th, 1913, also at Howard University. We then have Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, which was founded on January 9th, 1914 at Howard University. We then have Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, which was also founded at Howard University on January 16th, 1920. We had the last African American sorority, which is Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, which is founded on November 12, 1922, at Butler University. Currently, this is the only African American organization we have here at Quinnipiac University on our campus. For the last of the Divine Nine, we have Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, which was founded on September 9th, 1963 at Morgan State University. Over time, there have been many famous members of these Divine Nine organizations, such as Martin Luther King, who is a member of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Shaquille O'Neal, who is a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, also Michael Jordan, who is Phi Fraternity Incorporated. What people don't realize is that these organizations have a tremendous amount of pride and respect for each other. Though it might have started for brotherhood and camaraderie, they value academic success and graduation. Here's a video of members of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated at a graduation doing a step routine with some of their other members. As you can see, they have their stoles here representing their fraternity, and they're chanting the names Alpha Phi Alpha, which is the name of their fraternity. As you can see, they're also dressed in suits, black men together, showing their pride in graduating. This was a common thing for many African Americans to do at the time to show pride in their organizations. In conclusion, we can see how far African Americans have come in fraternity life. Beginning in 1906 with Alpha Phi Alpha, and currently in 2017, where we see African Americans graduating and celebrating African American unity. So next time you think of a fraternity and you might think of saying something racist, always think of where you would be as an African American student on a predominantly white campus, and where you would be without having groups like these to support you. Thank you. Sheesh.